In the kitchen today is Trish, and that means we're making a chocolate recipe, which we all love. We all get very excited that Trish is here. What type of chocolate recipe have we got today?
We have a very popular one these days, a chocolate chai macaron.
They are popular, aren't they? And
Yeah,
I guess
they're all the go.
it's the texture of them. They're all like sort of meringue, and then you got the ganache inside. It's just so delicious.
And all those pretty colours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, how do we start this?
All right, well, the basis of the macaron is the almonds. Okay, so we need to actually pop those into the food processor.
So we've just got blanched
Yep,
almonds here,
half
the
a cup.
skin's been removed.
Half a cup of blanched almonds.
Straight in.
We also need 1.5 cups of pure icing sugar.
And so this is going to make, what's this? This is the base of it, the two meringue pieces that are sandwiched together?
That's right. I've got 1/4 cup of Cadbury Bourneville cocoa. That's going to make them beautiful and rich and give them that nice dark colour. And then the other ingredient we're going to add is some chai tea. So we've actually just taken this straight out of the tea bags, in fact.
Right.
So just get some chai tea bags and you can take it out of the little
The
mesh.
chai has those wonderful flavours of cardamom, cinnamon,
cloves,
cloves,
star anise, all those beautiful flavours.
and I guess that works quite well with chocolate
Absolutely. So they need to be ground very finely.
to make almost like a fine powder.
That's it. Okay, I think that should be enough.
So you can see how fine that is. And that's really important because
Absolutely.
you don't want big chunks of the almond through the mixture.
What we do next is to just get that out and we'll just pass it through a sieve just in case there's any sort of little rough pieces of nuts. There we go.
All right, so I can do that for you.
Okay. Now, what we need to do then is to start with the whole sort of meringue part of it. So you want me to finish that off?
Yeah, sure.
And if you could separate 3 eggs out for
I can
me.
do that for you.
That's going to form the basis of the meringue for the macarons.
So how many does this make, Trish?
Okay, I'll make about 2 dozen.
Oh, good. So there's plenty for the lunchbox the next day.
That's right.
For dessert. These are a great gift too, though. Like, I like to make macarons to give at Christmas or someone's birthday. It's a really nice treat.
Yeah, they're special and they sort of, you can make up a pretty little box and put them in. That's great. Okay, so I've got most of the mixture through the sieve, but there's still some kind of coarse little bits of almond that won't go through, so we can just leave those out. I'll stir those through so that they're well combined. Now those are leg whites. They need a little bit of salt in them and they're just going to be beaten until soft peaks this time. Normally when we do soufflés we get it quite stiff, but only soft because we don't want it to be so stiff that the macarons can't sort of settle down nicely and the nuts fall through them. So only soft,
Okay.
which will happen very quickly. Got a bit of salt.
The salt, yeah?
Yeah, that looks good.
So it's just foaming, just coming together. So this is when we start adding the sugar.
That's right.
So are we putting a little bit at a time?
Yeah, well, probably half.
Half at a time.
Yeah. It won't take long
Okay.
because there's quite a lot of liquid there with the whites.
All right, Trish, I'm turning this off.
That looks good.
Oh,
Yeah, beautiful
good.
and glossy and thick, but not quite as stiff as if we were making pavlovas. Now, I might spoon in if you can fold.
I can do that.
Okay, so first up we're going to add about 1/3 of the mixture. You can just whip that through fairly quickly. I was reading about macarons the other day and they were actually saying that you beat in the air but you kind of bash half of it out by the time you finish, which was interesting because I thought, well, that's not usually what we would do if we were doing a souffle or a meringue.
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
How are we going? I'll give you some more. What needs to happen is that the nuts need to fall back down to the tray when you put the mixture onto the tray. So you don't want the mixture so stiff that the nuts can't actually fall down.
Yeah. That I can actually smell that slight amount of chai that we put in there, and of course
it makes
the chocolate.
such a difference. It makes them really quite aromatic. That looks good.
All right, so that's the consistency that we're looking for. Great.
Now, we've got a tray prepared. If you like, you can trace out a whole lot of little circles. If that helps you to keep them even, then that's fine too. Right. So what we need is a teaspoonful, and just spread it till it's about 3 centimetres across. What you need to do once you've spooned them all onto the paper is to allow them to settle for around about half an hour or so. And what happens is that you get a little skin starting to form on top of the macaron. That's exactly what we want, because we want the nuts to sort of sink down a little and give us that nice smooth top. Then after that, after about half an hour or so, and it kind of depends on the day and the humidity of the room and that sort of stuff too. If it's a very humid day, it may take quite a bit longer because it won't dry. They need to go into a moderately slow oven around about 150 degrees Celsius for, around about 25 minutes or so. Okay. And then we've got a ganache filling that we need to spread into them.
Ooh, yum.
Yummy.
Looking forward to trying these ones, Trish.
Okay, so now that the macarons are cooking, we might get the filling done so that that's got time to firm up and set too. All right, so back into the bowl over simmering water. I've got about 90 grams of the dark chocolate melts. And remembering that they're specifically designed for melting because they're in that sort of little round pip shape and they're the same thickness, so that means that they melt through quickly and evenly together.
So this is a ganache, which is sort of like a thick chocolate filling that we're doing.
Yeah, like a chocolate cream. Usually a ganache is just a combination of chocolate and cream together. Depending on the chocolate will depend on exactly how much cream you can add. So for a dark chocolate, you can usually add close to equal amounts.
And what type of cream? I mean, there's pure cream, which is the thinner. This is the thicker cream?
This is pure cream.
This is pure cream. Because it does matter sometimes, because some of them have gelatin in them.
It will be slightly thicker than a thickened cream. And just a little bit of butter added to that as well. So that just needs to heat over the simmering water. Once the chocolate's melted, that'll be really thick and dark. We just need to take that off the heat, allow it to cool and thicken, and then it will be just right for us to assemble our macarons.
Right.
Okay, well, they look beautiful.
They do.
Very proud of us. They look gorgeous.
They've got that nice shell, which is what you want. They're glistening.
Beautiful.
I can feel they're going to be nice and soft inside.
They are delicious. Right, so now this is the ganache, which has now cooled, so it's a great consistency. If you find that's a little too cold when it comes out of the fridge, you can always let it warm up a little bit at room temperature. You don't want it too hard that's going to actually break your macaron.
So I guess, and the other important thing is to make sure, I mean, it's quite obvious, but you have to make sure these are cooled down too. Because
Absolutely.
As soon as you put the cold ganache onto that, it's just going to go everywhere.
Oh, it'll run everywhere. Yeah, that won't be pretty.
Yeah, and you can put this in a piping bag too and just do the speedy way, but this way, I actually kind of like this way, doing it together.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I think you should make a couple more just so we can try it.
Absolutely.
We can get the kettle on, have a cup of tea, a little coffee, and maybe I should be the taste tester for your...
You best make sure they're all right, Justine, I think.
What a shame. I have a hard job, I tell you.
Somebody's got to do it. Good? Yummy.
Trish, you're such a great cook, and just the chocolate, all of a sudden I've just been hit with some chai.
The chai is really good, isn't it?
And it's a little bit chewy, like they should be, and then of course that softness, and then the ganache. That, just as good as in the stores. Even better, Trish.
Of course.